I would like to introduce you to a feature that we've been working on for quite some time now, and I'm very sure it will come as a surprise to some of you that it actually can do this. Most of the features already existed for quite a while. It's just that I've been trying to make it stable so that it will work well. And in doing so, I had to extend it a bit. So I wanna look at this feature. It actually has two or three concepts, which maybe is best if I explain that. So what is this all about? Okay, it's about adding dynamic files, folders, or even external files, which maybe is on a website or on GitHub, and you want to get the content from that file and add it maybe as code or even as a file to your system. So here's the thing. I'm working with components that is pulling data from all over the place, and so most of these features are really what I've been needing to get projects going, and trying to save myself time, that I don't need to copy paste and move things around to ensure that it's the correct copy being used on compilation. And JCB itself is maybe one of the best explanations. So let's look at this. You know that there is a feature that you can add files and folders, and this feature is, like I said, it's always been there, but currently I've expanded this by adding an advanced tab to this feature. It's got this basic, which is the normal one, which if you watch some of the previous tutorials, the older tutorials, I do actually explain how this works and how you get these files, and I'm not going to go into that. There is now a new area called Advanced. Sorry, I had to just quickly update that note for us. Advanced area now is able to grab files from anywhere in your system and add it to the component. Now, it can be files outside of the root directory of your Joomla website, just being sure that the PHP, which usually is Apache's permission, has the right to the file and can read it. So this is just the only thing. But for most cases, we won't need to grab files outside of the Joomla root directory, because we're actually maybe just editing a custom script, custom file inside of our Joomla component which we've created, but this file or these folders are not generated by JCB. So we want those files, where they are actively running inside of our component, we want them to be basically taken and put into the package without us having to move it around. And that's what this feature will now do. So you can, like I'm doing here, you can use constants. You'll see there's a little note here that tells you that you can use constant paths in the full path directly without quotes. That means you don't need to do, like in PHP, you do something like that. Wait, no, not. And you'll put this part in quotes, right, like that. Well, you don't need to do any of that. You put the constant directly like that, and the compiler will deal with this and make it right. So that you can do also with folders as well as with files. And then you obviously need to still set the target path in relation to the zip package. So you have folders called admin, but as you can see here, I'm actually doing a folder called libraries, and that means I am targeting a folder which isn't actually usually part of a package, a component package. But because I want that folder to be installed with my component every time, and I don't want to actually have a separate package for this library, I've actually improved JCB to include this package, which is basically, if you guys go look at this, you'll see that it's basically a composer file, and I'm including some composer classes there, which we are now using in JCB, and I'm moving it every time with each install into its place. Now, that might be outside of convention, I suppose, but there is neither rules against it, I think, and yeah, so that's what we're doing. What's nice though is that when JCB detects that you are not targeting the normal admin or media or image folder or site, those are the normal folders, then, oh wait, not image folders, neither is that normal, but so you got your three, that's site, admin, and media. If JCB detects that you're gonna be moving content into a folder that's not part of the expected package, component package folders, it will actually add a little script to the script install so that it will move this folder into its correct place upon installation of the component, or whether the component is updated. So you can go look at that. In fact, I can show you just briefly. So here I've got the component open, the script file for component builder. I'm going to scroll down, it's obviously a huge file. But here at the bottom we now have this new little script. It's named a little weird so that it doesn't conflict with any other method at any time. And basically it gets the details from the above methods, and then it checks whether the folders, obviously it gets the dynamic install folder. It checks whether there is more than one, and then if it's one of these, it ignores it, because those are already being dealt with by Joomla. And if it isn't, it actually moves it into its correct place. Now this is a dangerous feature, and as you can see here, I'm saying you must use this with caution, because you can literally grab with this new function anything anywhere from your Joomla website and overwrite it anywhere on the user's installation website, which could be problematic and something you shouldn't do unless you are unless it's your right to do so. Okay, so this is the new feature in doing dynamic movement of folders and files. What makes this also nice, if you're using these constants in your naming of your paths, and you export and import this component into another Joomla website, then as a JCB package, right? If you export a JCB package and you import it at another JCB install, it actually remaps these files. It actually exports them, remaps them, and moves them back into place on the other install, which really makes it very comfortable in working in a team, and you want to have these files always be the same everywhere. This is going to be very helpful for that. I can also, obviously because of the feature, I give you a little heads up that if you import a package from anyone and you do not know or you do not trust them, they could actually move files through this method into your system, and it's therefore part of security which you need to consider with whom you are sharing packages. Anyway, so this is some of the feature regarding the new folder implementation, folder and file implementation. The other aspect which I mentioned earlier, where you actually able to get content from anywhere, works as follow. So anywhere in any custom area of JCB where you can actually add custom script, you can also now use this external code snippet. Now this could be a URL, or it could be a folder inside of your system. This folder does not yet work with constants. I should actually make it that it does. It actually needs to be the exact folder path at this stage. But the reality is that with this external code concept, you can take, for example, a variable from a Git snippet. Let me show you. So here I have what I've called fancy date, which is basically a few functions, static functions, which are not wrapped in the class yet, so it's basically outside of a class. And why? Because I want to include it into my helper class with the snippet, so that I can have others work with me on this code on GitHub, and if any changes be made to this code, it automatically updates my system. Now I know that there is some question of security in doing so, but we've added a few little tricks in the compiler to actually notify you if there's been a change to the code. So what that means is the first time you use that snippet to include this snippet that you've got here, you'll obviously do something like raw, and then here I have basically a text file. So you'd grab that URL and add it like this. You can take away the actual, because currently it is bound to a specific version, which obviously if anybody makes a change to the snippet, you won't get the new version. Well, that's a way of locking it in. But if you wanted to have it be dynamic, you can actually remove a part of this. I think it's this part. Let me just check. Yeah, that's right. And you can use it like that. Now, this specific piece of text that you see here will dynamically be added to my component. Let me demonstrate. So here I've opened Component Builder in its backend. I'm going to scroll, I've gone to this libs and helpers tab. I'm going to scroll down to this area which is called admin class. So I'll just do in the admin area so that it's easily detectable. I'm going to add that snippet like that. So it says external code with the path of the URL, and that's it. I'm going to save and close. Then let's go to the compiler. Now what should happen is that the moment you've compiled this, it should tell you that you've added this kind of external code to your component. If it doesn't tell you that, then something's wrong. It should tell you the first time you add the snippet, because it actually creates a hash of that snippet, so that in the future, if it changes, you get notified. So when we grab the snippet from GitHub and anybody in the middle, tampers with it, it will notify you that the snippet was changed. Now, if you know that it should have changed because you made a change to the Git snippet, or someone else in your team did, then obviously you will be expecting that. But you could still, for safety's sake, go check in the code of the component where the snippet is being added to ensure that it is actually still accurate. So I'll show you that. Let's compile this. So we see two messages that are relevant to the issue at hand. This one is a new message which I'm not going to go into now, but it's basically dealing with that it actually detected that, remember we said we have this folder we putting inside of the library folders, and every time you'd compile, it'll actually tell you that. It'll tell you that it has detected it and it's added the script to the script PHP. So I said I was going to explain it, now I did. Anyway, so that's what that is about. But this first line here is showing you the snippet, and it's telling you that it's been added for the first time, and that you should please investigate to ensure the correct code string was used. So you should go to the place where in JCB, in the package, the compiled package where this should have been added. Go and check that it is the correct, that what you see here on GitHub, this string here, is also what you're going to see in the code. That's the first thing. Every time thereafter, it should give you this little message here. And it should tell you how many code strings are being added to this component as an external code. And to avoid shipping your component with malicious code string, always make sure that the correct code string values were used. Now, I did tell you that if we detect a change, it will also notify you. So first, let's go do what it said here. Let's go check that it is the correct code. Okay, so I'm in the zip package. So we see this, the library folder has been added. Okay, we're going to go to the admin area, helpers, and then open component builders helper file, which is where I added the snippet, right? So let's just open that. And then here we have it. Fancy date and fancy date time. So basically from here to here was taken from GitHub and put inside of the component. Now I'm going to go make a change to this snippet on GitHub. I'm going to just do something small so that we can see what happens if a change is made to this code and how JCB responds. So I'm just adding this new little string here saying change was made, and I'm updating this public guest. So it now tells us that it's been revised for a second time and a change was made. Now let's compile the component without doing anything else. Just make the change here on GitHub, then go back to the component and compile it. So here we are, selecting this and compile. I can see I'll have to maybe add some spacing between the messages here. It doesn't always seem clear enough that the messages are not related to each other. Like here it's showing that other message again, like I said it would, but you might miss that. So I think I'll have to look at that. Anyway, here in the warnings area, we see this. We see that it has changed since the last compilation. Please investigate to ensure the change is safe. So that means JCB has automatically detected that the snippet that you originally added has actually been updated. Now at this point we anticipated that, so if we go and look at the code, we see that it just added this little part here, change was made. And the rest of it is exactly the way we want that, and so everything is fine. It's a change we anticipated, so we know that nobody else has tampered with this script, and neither was there a man-in-the-middle attack. And in any case, if there is someone tampering with the script, it will end up as a string here. So let's say they put something in here, it'll do something like that, or whatever they put in, and you'll see this error in your file. So that's basically how it will work, play out. But in the actual reality, JCB will detect that. It will see that the hash for the script is changed, and it will notify you with that message. I'm going to do my part in trying to make sure that it's more obvious, that you won't miss that message. But that's anyway, when you use this kind of implementation, it is not the most ideal implementation. It's just that sometimes We want to include an external value in our component which is dynamically changing, and we want to do it without really thinking about it all the time. And this is what this feature is ideal for. And so use it with caution, and know what you're doing, or don't use it at all. So that was a quick overview of the new folder file inclusion as well as external code inclusion features, which I really trust would be useful to you. It's powerful tools, so I realize there are the danger of it being abused, but at the same time I think component development works upon reputation, and if you want to have a good reputation in the community, you shouldn't do anything that will hurt others or damage their contribution and their applications, but you should steer within the parameters of your own component and your own implementation in any case, because people are going to look at your code, they are going to unzip your package, they are going to see if you're doing things that are not good. They're going to notice that, and your reputation will get hurt, and that's the last thing you would want when you're developing components for Joomla. Anyway, thank you for watching.